to a new deep dive.
Hey there.
We're tackling something pretty massive today, something that just wrapped up a huge storyline, really, after decades on screen.
Yeah, it's a big one.
We are diving into the latest film in the Mission Impossible saga, The Final Reckoning.
And the fascinating insights we're pulling from today, they come straight from a recent discussion we had about this very film, all captured in a transcript.
Right.
So our mission, should we choose to accept it,
Nice.
is basically to sift through that chat, pull out the most surprising bits, the key takeaways, to help you get a really well-informed understanding of what stands out about The Final Reckoning, its place in the whole franchise, and what we found most interesting.
Okay, let's get into it then. The Final Reckoning. It's the 8th film, picks up right where Dead Reckoning Part 1 left off, like immediately.
Exactly. And you've got the usual suspects back, of course. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt, front and center. Plus, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Henry Czerny is back as Kittredge, which is great, Hayley Atwell, loads of others returning or popping up.
So the main goal, the plot, it's kind of classic Mission Impossible, but with a very modern spin.
Right. Ethan and the team, they need a key.
Always a key or a list or something.
Pretty much. This key opens a vault, but the vault's inside a sunken submarine. And inside that vault, well, that's the prize, the source code for something they call the entity.
The entity. Okay, so this is the big bad this time, but it's not like a person.
No, exactly. It's a digital threat, an AI. And its goal is pretty terrifying. Basically orchestrating humanity's self-destruction.
How? Like directly?
Well, either directly or, by manipulating governments, pushing them towards war, that kind of thing.
Okay, wow. And what really struck me from our discussion was how plausible the entity feels.
Yes, that's the thing. In today's world with AI everywhere.
ChatGPT, Copilot, all that.
Exactly. The potential, but also the risks. It feels very real. Our chat even linked it to, real world stuff like the concerns during their writers and actors strikes about AI in creative fields.
Right. So watching this digital ghost manipulate everything, it felt less like sci-fi and more like, unnervingly relevant. Chilling, actually.
Totally. Now, the film itself, it's a commitment. It's long.
Yeah. Nearly 3 hours, 170 minutes, I think.
That's right. And quick heads up for you listening, don't wait around after the credits expecting a scene. There isn't one.
Good to know. Saves you sitting there.
And our discussion was really, really clear on this point. You absolutely need to watch Dead Reckoning Part 1 first.
Oh, essential viewing.
Definitely. I mean, Final Reckoning does try to catch you up a bit, but honestly, you'll miss so much context, so much of the setup if you just jump into this one cold.
Okay, good advice. So moving on from the basic setup, what about initial reactions, expectations going in?
Well, we were coming at it as, longtime fans of the series, very invested. And for some of us, Dead Reckoning Part 1, well, it wasn't maybe our absolute favorite. It had some issues.
Right, I remember that discussion.
So there was a specific anticipation, hoping this follow-up would kind of stick the landing, address those things, and really wrap up this particular arc, maybe even Ethan's whole journey.
That anticipation was definitely there. And didn't we talk about the title change? From Part 2 to just The Final Reckoning?
Yeah, we did. And honestly, watching them now, especially if you watch them close together, they really do feel like one massive film just split in two.
It flows like that.
Completely. What was interesting, too, was the difference in publicity. Remember how Part 1 basically showed the huge motorbike cliff jump in every single trailer?
Oh, yeah, totally spoiled. Well, not spoiled, but you knew it was coming.
Exactly. And our discussion felt that kind of took the wind out of its sails a bit when you finally saw it in the movie.
Right.
But Final Reckoning seemed to learn from that. They showed, more images, glimpses, but way less detail about the big action sequences.
Keeping things under wraps.
Yeah, and it worked. It built up way more intrigue, more genuine curiosity about what was actually going to happen in those big moments.
I agree. That felt much better. And the basic mission, get the key in the lock, sounds so simple on paper, doesn't it?
Deceptively simple for Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But obviously, how they get there is anything but.
Never is.
Now, one of the biggest things I think that came out of our deep dive chat was how much this film feels like a love letter.
A love letter to the whole franchise.
Exactly. It really wears its heart on its sleeve in that regard.
How so? What makes it feel like that?
It starts right away, actually. There's this fantastic, nostalgic VHS-style intro, pulling up old mission briefings, proper retro feel.
I loved that bit.
And then throughout the film, it's just packed with callbacks You see familiar faces pop up, certain scene setups deliberately echo moments from the older films, and there are actual flashbacks, weaving it all together.
It's not just winks and nods, it's actively connecting the dots.
Yes, precisely. It explains things, ties up loose ends from past movies in a way that feels really satisfying. If you've been watching these for years, it gives you this almost cozy, familiar feeling like, they remembered that. It provides a kind of narrative closure you don't often get.
Okay, and the big example of this, the one we really focused on in the discussion, was the rabbit's foot, right?
Oh, absolutely. From Mission Impossible 3.
Which was just this mysterious MacGuffin back then. We never knew what it was, assumed it was like a bioweapon or something.
Exactly. And everyone speculated. But here, our discussion really highlighted how brilliantly they handled it. It's a perfect retroactive continuity. They didn't just ignore it. They wove it right into the plot of this film.
It finally explained it.
Finally explained what it really was and gave it this crucial new significance. It felt like such a treat for the fans who remembered and wondered about it all these years. Rewarding that long-term investment, you know?
That's actually really cool. Okay, so shifting slightly, what about the storytelling itself? The pacing, the general vibe?
Well, the tension is pretty relentless. The stakes feel genuinely massive. You've got the nuclear war threat constantly bubbling. Gabriel is still out there being menacing.
Keeps you hooked?
Definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat. And the pacing, despite that hefty runtime we mentioned.
Nearly 3 hours again.
Again, just flies by. That came up a lot in our chat. Very few lulls, very few moments where it felt like it was dragging. Which is impressive for a film that long, especially an action film.
That's hard to pull off.
Really is. There was one minor point that got mentioned in the discussion, though, about the dialogue.
Oh, what was that?
Just that occasionally it felt a tiny bit like over-explanation.
Telling, not showing.
Sort of. Maybe the writers didn't quite trust the audience to follow everything, especially the tech stuff around the entity. Characters sometimes repeated info we already knew.
Right, okay. A little bit of hand-holding.
Just a touch. Nothing major, didn't ruin it or anything, but it was noted. A small script niggle.
Gotcha. And visually, did the film have a particular style that stood out?
Yes, actually. Our conversation picked up on a very distinct look. Someone even described it as telenovela in style.
Telenovela, really?
Lots of high-angle close-ups, dramatic camera tilts, really extreme close-ups on faces during intense moments. It felt like a very deliberate choice, leaning into this slightly, campy finish was the phrase used.
Interesting. Did it work?
Surprisingly, yeah. It kind of fit the heightened reality of it all, gave it a unique flavor.
Okay, let's talk characters then. Ethan Hunt, obviously. How's his journey here?
There was a lot to unpack about Ethan in this one. Our discussion highlighted a really powerful scene where his body count is basically thrown in his face.
Meaning the people who died working with him.
Exactly. And it specifically nuts the pattern with women allies who tend to end up dead. It felt like a heavy moment, and it directly informs why Grace is so wary of him initially.
Gives her doubt some real weight.
Definitely. And it also puts his whole going rogue thing, which is his signature move. Right?
Pretty much every film.
The film actually calls him out on it. It forces you and him to kind of reflect on his entire career, the choices he's made, the collateral damage.
And then there's Tom Cruise himself, doing these stunts at, 63 now?
Yeah, early 60s. It's incredible. Our chat remarked on how his ambition for just bigger, more dangerous stunts seems to have only grown over the years. It's kind of wild.
Does his performance reflect that age, that history?
I think so. He feels suitably jaded, is how we put it.
Right.
You feel the weight, the baggage of doing this for 30 years. He carries this responsibility for his team, and it feels heavier now.
Like he's tired of it, almost.
Maybe not tired, but aware of the cost. He gets this grudging respect from people like Kittredge, who don't trust his methods, but know he's the only one who can do it.
Right.
There's this palpable feeling of, is this the one final mission? You sense his reluctance to bring new people in because he doesn't want anyone else die on his watch.
Adds another layer to him. What about the supporting cast? Grace, played by Hayley Atwell.
Yeah, she got a lot more focus in this one, felt much more fleshed out compared to part one. We really see her skills, the pickpocketing, her smarts put to good use. She feels like a proper, valuable member of the team by the end.
Good. And Pom Klementieff as Paris?
Oh, she was a highlight in the discussion.
Yeah.
Described as slightly unhinged in a good way.
I like that.
Her reintroduction scene and some of her lines later on were really appreciated for adding this unexpected depth and well, weirdness.
Okay. And Gabriel, the main human antagonist alongside the entity.
He gets more depth, too. We understand his motivations better, his connection to the entity, what his actual plan is, makes him feel a bit more rounded.
Any other standout? Or maybe didn't quite land?
Well, some brief appearances, like Hannah Waddingham's character, felt a bit underused, maybe, based on the discussion. But others, like Tel Teasman as the submarine operator or Caitlin O'Brien's character, they made a real impact in their scenes.
Got it. Now, you mentioned the love letter aspect earlier and how it connects to the past. This sounds like where that really comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. This was a huge point in our conversation. How brilliantly this film brings back characters from the original 1996 movie.
Starting with Kittredge.
Yep, Henry Czerny. He's still that slippery side character, isn't he? You're never totally sure what his angle is. He's that necessary bureaucratic foil to Hunt's chaos.
Essential part of the formula, almost?
Kind of. But the really mind-blowing returns, the ones that got the discussion buzzing, were Briggs and Dunlow.
Briggs? Wait, from the very first team? In the original film?
The very same. The agent Hunt has that brief exchange with Jorpity. Right at the beginning, he shows up here.
No way!
Yes. And it links right back to the very start, this shared history with Hunt. It sets up this potential conflict, like maybe he blames Hunt. But then the film handles it so unexpectedly, diffusing it really effectively. He even asks about Das, another agent from that team.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Fantastic. And then there's Dunlow.
Dunlow?
Remember the first film? Kittredge has that throwaway line about some agent being exiled? That was Dunlow. He was basically just a name drop.
And he's in this.
He has this brief scene. Our discussion thought it was fantastic, brilliant. It shows what happened to him after being exiled, and again, it resolves any potential lingering antagonism really quickly and impactfully.
That's incredible attention to detail.
It really is. It felt like they took this tiny crumb from 28 years ago and used it to its absolute full capacity. Just a brilliant reward for anyone who remembers that line.
Okay, that's seriously impressive fan service done right. Let's shift to the action then, the set pieces. It's Mission Impossible after all.
Absolutely. And Final Reckoning delivers. Big time. Scale, inventiveness, the works.
What was the standout, the big one everyone talked about?
The submarine sequence.
Yeah.
Hands down. Our discussion called it a brilliant piece of cinema.
High praise. What made it so good?
Just the sheer intensity. The feeling of claustrophobia, the depth gauge plummeting, the way the sub is tilting and everything's sliding around.
Oh, yeah, that sounds disorienting.
Totally. And the sound design. The groaning metal, the water rushing in. Plus, they included this detail about the bends, the risk of surfacing too fast. It felt real.
Made the danger palpable.
So much so that, seriously, one of us in the discussion genuinely thought for a second, they might actually kill Tom Cruise here.
Wow.
And a key point, tying back to what we said earlier, its power was massively amplified because we hadn't seen it all in the trailers. It hit with full force.
That makes such a difference. Any other big sequences?
The war room scene was also mentioned for its tension. You really see the stress on the characters' faces as they're debating nuclear action, and the AI is actively messing with their communications. It's frantic.
Sounds nail-biting.
And the biplane sequence got appreciated too, not just for the visuals, but for the smart plot reason behind it.
Right, using old tech to avoid the AI.
Exactly. Low electronics, the entity can't touch them. Even Gabriel, having a backup plane, felt perfectly in character for his meticulous planning against the AI. Smart writing.
Okay, so with this film feeling like such a culmination and a love letter, it sounds like the perfect time to look back, right? Reflect on the whole series.
Precisely. Our discussion naturally went there. We started picking out some of our personal favorite, most iconic moments from across all 8 films.
Yeah.
Sort of a franchise highlight reel.
Ooh, fun. What came up first? Let me guess.
The wire drop.
You got it.
Yeah.
The wire drop from the original 1996 film. Classic.
Can't beat it.
Our description nailed it. The absolute silence, the unbearable tension, those tiny details like the sweat bead, the knife falling. That scene basically defined the visual language of the franchise.
Yeah.
And it cemented Cruise doing his own crazy stunts.
And they even called back to it in Final Reckoning, right?
A nice little nod.
Yeah.
What was your pick?
For me, it had to be the plane sequence from Rogue Nation.
Ah, clinging to the side of the A400M.
Yes. That
Yeah.
just felt like a statement. Like, okay, the stunts are going to another level now.
Yeah.
The sheer visual audacity of it. Him hanging on as it takes off.
It's incredible. And there's that little bit of comedy, too, when he opens the wrong door first. As an opening sequence, it just perfectly sets the tone and the stakes.
Great choice. Another one picked for sheer villain impact was the rabbit's foot interrogation from MI.3.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, absolutely chilling. That scene actually opens the movie. Our discussion raved about Hoffman's performance, completely formidable. The way he just calmly counts down while Hunt is tied up, helpless, begging.
Yeah, that was intense.
It showed Hunt truly powerless,
Yeah.
which added so much depth to his character right away.
Okay, another favorite that came up was the Rome chase from Dead Reckoning Part 1.
The little yellow Fiat 500.
Yes, that whole sequence. Grace and Ethan handcuffed together, trying to drive this tiny car through Rome.
Chaos. Pure chaos.
It was inventive, funny, and tense, especially with Paris chasing them in that huge armored truck. Just brilliant chase design.
Agreed. Then there was a smaller moment, but one that got a lot of love. Henry Cavill's arm reload in Fallout.
Oh yeah, the bathroom fight.
Exactly. That little cocking motion he does with his arms, it was just such a neat touch. So cool, it instantly became a massive gif.
Totally. Added so much swagger to the character in one tiny move.
And the final main pick was the opera scene, also from Rogue Nation.
Ah, Vienna. Gorgeous sequence.
Absolutely stunning. Our chat highlighted how cleverly it mirrors the opera being performed, Turandot in its staging, the intricate choreography of assassins, Hunt, Ilsa, all moving behind the scenes. That silhouette shot of Ilsa in the gold dress.
Iconic.
Just breathtaking filmmaking.
Yeah.
Complex, beautiful, even if plot-wise you could argue is slightly convoluted or unnecessary, but as a sequence, masterful.
Any honorable mentions? Too many great moments to choose just a few.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The Burj Khalifa climb from Ghost Protocol got a shout-out. Terrifying, especially because things keep going wrong.
Yeah, the sticky gloves failing.
Exactly. Also, the train sequence from Dead Reckoning Part 1, really intense.
Yeah.
And just the running scenes, especially in MI.3 and Fallout, the one where he famously broke his ankle but finished the take, often with Benji guiding him in his ear.
The man runs a lot.
He really does.
So bringing it back to Final Reckoning, with this big story arc seemingly done, the big question that came out of our discussion was, what now? Is this really it?
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Given Cruise's age, the sense of finality in this plot, where does Mission Impossible go from here?
What was the feeling in the chat? Satisfaction or wanting more?
A bit of both, actually. Part of the discussion expressed real satisfaction, like, this is a great ending to this chapter, a finite product, let the franchise go out with a bang on this high note.
A respectable end.
But there's always the Hollywood reality, right? Successful franchise, lots of money involved. The phrase, milk this cow, definitely came up.
Huh. Yeah, studios aren't known for letting go easily. So while Ethan Hunt's main story might be winding down, or perhaps over, the world of the IMF, that could easily continue.
Spin-offs, prequels.
Exactly. That seemed the most likely path. The discussion throughout ideas focus on other characters. Grace seems set up for more, maybe Briggs, Benji, Das even. Explore their stories.
Or a young Ethan Hunt.
That too. Which leads to a really interesting specific point that Final Reckoning touched on but didn't fully explore.
What's that?
Remember how the film briefly mentions how Ethan was recruited into the IMF in the first place?
Vaguely. Something about blackmail, a past murder.
Exactly. It's hinted at strongly, but the details are left hanging. Our discussion pinpointed that as perfect prequel material.
Ah, okay, his origin story.
Yeah, either a prequel film or maybe even a TV series, digging into that darker backstory, the early days of the IMF. Lots of potential there.
Definitely fertile ground. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To summarize our whole deep dive.
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. It really stands out as, yes, a strong, super tense conclusion to this entity storyline. But maybe more importantly, it's this genuine love letter to the whole franchise history.
Delivers the goods.
Absolutely. Signature incredible stunts, action that works partly because it wasn't overexposed beforehand, brilliant callbacks that really reward you if you're a longtime fan, some really strong character moments too.
Even with those minor quibbles about, say, the dialogue occasionally over-explaining things.
Right, those were minor points in the grand scheme. The overall feeling from our discussion was overwhelmingly positive.
So the recommendation?
Go see it, definitely. Ideally on a big screen, IMAX if you can, to get the full impact of the sound and scale.
And watch Dead Reckoning Part 1 first.
Crucial. Don't skip Part 1, you'll thank us later. It really will make Final Reckoning land much better for you.
Okay. And as we usually do, let's leave our listeners with a final provocative thought to chew on.
All right. So, our discussion touched on this interesting age comparison. Think about John Voight playing Jim Phelps in the very first Mission Impossible back in 1996. He was 58.
Okay.
Now think about Tom Cruise playing Ethan Hunt in this film, The Final Reckoning. He's 63.
Wow, older than Voight was then.
Exactly. So the question is, what does that striking difference tell us about how our perceptions of age, physical performance, maybe even the nature of action heroes have evolved over the last, nearly 30 years?
That's a good one to ponder. A lot has changed.
Definitely something to think about.
We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on The Final Reckoning or the whole Mission Impossible franchise or anything we talked about today. Find us on social media. We're at Moviescramble.
Or you can always drop us an email, podcast@moviescramble.co.uk.
And if you found this deep dive useful or interesting, maybe leave us a review.
Yeah, it really helps other people find the show.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.